exciting, perplexing, and head scratching. And we're going to be breaking down two major topics that should fill up 2+ hours of your morning to start your 3-day weekend. Of course, we're going to open up with the big news, and that is Spider-Man confirmed not only to be 4K 60 running on the PlayStation 5, but it has been confirmed by the many people at Insomniac Games as this is going to be a full-on adventure for the very popular Miles Morales. And of course, on the back end of the show, we're going to be talking about Apple versus Microsoft versus Google and the rest of the world. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. Now, as you can see, this panel is packed. And we have 7 folks, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to get into our introductions. But there's 2 pieces of house cleaning news I want to talk about. First of all, I have to say a big, huge thank you and a public apology to a very generous friend of the show, Robert Jones. Dropped an outstanding $25 super chat the other day. And I don't understand how the hell I missed it. I don't know if it registered, but as I was adding names to the contest that were my wife and I and my brother Neo Mental were doing at the end of the year, I came across it and I felt really awful, not only because it was $25, but the fact that if I miss any super chats, it honestly bothers me as a host because people don't owe me anything. And when people donate and I don't acknowledge them, it honestly, it hurts me personally. So Robert Jones, if you're listening, and I know that you are, thank you for constantly showing your outstanding generosity as you always do. And of course, speaking of contests, if you are new to the channel, if you have not heard, we're doing one of the biggest giveaways this channel has ever done. The prize package is worth over $2,000. That's right. You heard me. $2,000 plus. And that doesn't even include shipping, especially if I got to send one of these systems to the UK. And what we're giving away very simply is this. My wife, Mrs. Boomstick, my brother, Neo Mental, and I have decided to give back to the community in a way that we felt was big. It needed to be monumental. So this fall, we're going to be giving away one PlayStation 4 digital edition, a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 digital edition, and we're even including Spider-Man Miles Morales with that. Then we're going to be giving away an Xbox Series X. So we're giving away 2 consoles. But to add more fuel to the fire, we're going to be giving away 10. That's right, 10 individual winners of either choice of a PlayStation 5 launch game or an Xbox Series X launch game of their choice, either digitally or physically. And this morning, before I went live, Mrs. Boomstick dropped another bombshell. We're adding to this prize package and we're going to be donating we're going to be raffling off a DualSense controller as well as an Xbox Series X controller in Robot White to go along with this massive prize package worth over $2,000. And all you have to do are 3 things. If you donate into the super chat, at any point, your name gets recorded and it goes into a list, a pool of names. And for that particular prize, it's going to be one of the controllers or one of 10 different games. And with the systems, the way it works is if you're a channel member and or a Patreon supporter, you will get either 1 or 2 entries in that drawing, and all shipping costs, taxes, and otherwise is going to be paid by us. So you either join Patreon, you get an entry. You join a channel membership, which is $5 a month, you get an entry. You do both, you get 2 entries. And of course, if you donate through Super Chat, you have a chance of winning either a controller or one of 10 games. Now, I know folks have been concerned about why I'm doing it this way. Well, unfortunately, the world is not honorable. And it's real easy to say that I'm going to sub your channel and then tell you go fuck yourself as soon as the contest is over. And we are not playing that game. It's too many cheaters
Boom,
out
you can
there.
be truthful. You can be truthful. Listen, I made 10 separate accounts and I subscribed to all.
There you go. And people actually do that. So what we're looking to do is reward the people that support this channel. That's why the contest is being done the way it is. But again, enough of my shenanigans. Let's get into this massive panel and break down this outstanding group of topics. And first off, we're going to start with the people that keep this show running each and every week. And we'll start with a very good friend of the show, a guy that is known as the Platinum Hunter himself, PlayStation representative extraordinaire. Please welcome BitCloud Gaming.
Man, that was a massive announcement, let me tell you. But welcome out to everybody in the chat. Let's play. Good morning.
Ryan, it's great to have you here as always. I'm very glad you're here for two reasons. One, you're a huge Marvel fan, just like myself. And more importantly, you're an even bigger Miles Morales fan. So this is going to be a fantastic conversation to open up today's show. Next up, someone that is on loan currently from the PlayStation Nation. And currently we're in contract negotiations to have him here full time. I don't know how much money they're going to want, but I'm working on it. Unfortunately, I know how to do contract deals, unlike Apple, but that's enough. That's a topic for a second half of the show. Please welcome Mr. Bad Bits.
It's actually the exact price of a PlayStation 5. So not even Sony knows at this point in time.
$500 then.
Yeah, exactly. 500, 600. Who knows? They maybe want like doubloons or something, you know? So no, I'm happy to be here, man. Let's go talk about all the shenanigans. That's what I want.
We love shenanigans, and of course, so does this outstanding chat that we're already over 100 people, and we just started. So that's a big deal for this small show. Thank you for everyone being here. Next up, one of the most generous folks of the community. As a matter of fact, he has a show known as Gaming Outside of the Box, and it is a show that is fun. A lot of beers are cracked. A lot of masks are worn. Sometimes masks that shouldn't be on the air, but are on the air nonetheless. Please welcome Wilmy Hood.
What is going on? And man, it is weird to be on the show on a morning during a weekday. Holy shit! But, yeah, there's a lot of crazy.
You needed a break.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on this week. So let's do it.
Well, thanks so much for being here, Wilmy. Super appreciate you always being a part of the program, and of course, your generosity and heavy block hand for this community is well represented as always. Next up, the voice that I think people need to tune into more. The Vitamin G podcast is one that needs more views, more subs, and someone that I think brings a sense of honesty and velocity to this community. Please welcome FC Violent.
What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you, Boom, for having me on the show, and it's always fun on a Friday morning, man. Let's get it.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and of course, it is great to work with you as always. It's always a pleasure, and more specifically, an honor to work with you. Next up, you know him as the Italian Clowns. I call him brother. Also, I owe him a homemade pizza, and I'm going to have to fly that out to Florida. Hopefully, I don't get eaten by an alligator in delivering that pizza to my brother. Clowns, welcome to the program, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So glad to be here, Boom. Amazing panel, amazing topics, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys.
Well, it's great to have you as always. And we know that later on, you're going to have to leave just a little bit earlier, which is fine. And we will give you the proper outro for your 4 guys with quarters. And I think you have a few other things that you're currently working on that we'd like to know about. And last, and no way least, his picture always makes me laugh. His name makes me laugh even harder, but it's his podcasting skills that are the reason he continues to come on this program. Please welcome Cotton McCast.
Thank you, Boom. What's going on, panel, chat? Crazy news this week. I'm actually out of town, but I still couldn't tear myself away from trying to get on and talk with you guys about all this. So I'm excited to get into it.
Well, it's honestly great to have you, dude. Honestly, it's I enjoy working with you. You really bring your gaming knowledge, especially your love of Halo, to the conversation. And I know that you were horribly depressed this week, but
Oh,
you know
man.
what? It is for the best. And Master Chief will return in 2021. Hopefully, they do him right, and we see him return on the 15th of November next year, which gives
Yeah.
I say Bungie, my goodness, gives 343 Studios a real 15-month long time to get it right. The gameplay looked fantastic. The story looks amazing. They just need to do something about those graphics, and I believe that they will. I think they're going to deliver it. I think that when he hits his 20th anniversary next year, the Master Chief will be represented well on the of course, the Series X. And more importantly, hopefully, we get a special edition console. And I hope that console is designed by either Graphic God would be a great choice because his skill set is ridiculous. But I'd also like to see
the Xbox Pope.
There you go. Yeah, the Xbox Pope has been doing this for a while. I've written to Microsoft. I've DM'd people from Microsoft, and I'm saying you got to get this guy on board simply because his skills are legendary.
And he's blowing up right now.
He is exploding on the
everything
scene.
he's
Yeah,
touching.
everything he
going
does.
viral, man.
People are running it. Comicbook.com is running it. GameSpot ran an article on him, and again, he's a good friend of mine personally. We talk all the time, and he deserves this more than anybody. But let's get into topic number 1, 11 minutes into the show. Look, in fall of 2019, Sony Interactive Entertainment, long for SIE, made one of the biggest and best moves of that calendar year. They acquired Insomniac Games for $229 million as per the investment records that I pulled for the show. Now, this came on the heels of what many in the gaming community would call one of the best superhero games ever made, and I would be one of those gamers. And we're talking about 2018's spectacular Spider-Man, which of course was a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and in my opinion, was the resurgence of the superhero genre. Now, of course, to be clear, I'm not taking anything away from what DC has done in the past, but to be fair, the last Batman game that we got was 2015. It's been a while, and obviously, it's been a while. So we have to tip our hat to the web slinger that Insomniac Games did deliver on their promise of feeling like Spider-Man. Now, thanks to our very good friend of the channel, WR Cup Z86 of Twitter, who dropped this incredible Entertainment Weekly article into my DM breaking down the big PS5 launch title, I thought it'd be great for an opening topic of discussion. Now, here, according to the article, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is set in winter 1 year after the events of the previous game from 2018. Miles' Harlem home is on the verge of being torn apart by a war between an angry corporation and a criminal organization armed to the teeth with advanced tech. It's not a formal sequel to Spider-Man, according to the report, though there have been some coy responses from the creatives, and they have come out and actually clarified what we will be getting. And I'm really happy to talk about this publicly because, one, this is a full arc for Miles Morales that started in Spider-Man. And this is coming from Brian Horton, who is the game's creative director. He says this: we really are completing this hero's coming of age in our game. It is, in fact, a complete story. Now, the choice of a smaller narrative came amid discussions on what the hero's journey looked like for Miles in the context of Insomniac's games. After all, Miles, according to the Marvel Comics canon, doesn't typically exist in the same reality as Peter Parker. So this is a new tale, so to speak. And this is coming from the director. He says this: when we started crafting it, Horton recalls, we realized that with a little bit more compact storytelling, with style, we could tell a very emotional, impactful story that would fit really well as an expansion that would take Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales and do justice to the character. Miles, according again, the article continues with Miles may be training with Peter Parker to hone his skills, but Horton and the rest of the team see him as his own Spider-Man. The animation and movements, the mechanics, and even his powers, which include a Bioshock and invisibility aspect, aren't just unique tricks to the character. They are metaphors for the hero's journey that pair keeping both emotion and excitement into the conversation. Now, Joe, I wrote this topic specifically, not just for the show, more specifically for you, for a lot of reasons. One, we know what Spider-Man did for you personally. You told that story yesterday, and I want to thank you for sharing that. But more importantly, you as a male Hispanic think that this is not only a big deal for gaming, having a lead character who's both African American and Hispanic, but for you personally, it means something. Talk about that for a second.
Man, this game means a lot to me already. So if for those of you who don't know, like I'm Hispanic, I know I'm pretty white, I could pass. But no, it's crazy. And with that said, though, Into the Spider-Verse saved my life. Like when I was at my lowest of my low, my biggest depression point, that movie changed the game for me, right? Because all of a sudden, like, I mean, I'm like 20 something, but like for the first time in a very, very long time, I felt like I actually had someone to actually look up to that kind of resembled the way I lived and how I was brought up as a kid. So, Miles means a lot to me. Yesterday, 5-year anniversary of my grandpa passing, sucked because my grandpa was that person that shaped me. That was the person I could look up to. And so having that anniversary and then just like the little screenshot, this little stupid screenshot, probably not even in game, you know what I mean? But like it did it for me.
It showed the reflection of the ray tracing. It looked amazing.
Yeah, it looked really great. Even if look, talk shit all you want because people are like, is it really gameplay? It's captured from a PS5. If we wanted to get into the fanboy conversations, like, well, I at least know what my PS5 is going to look like, right?
Don't do it, bro. It's a can of worms. Don't do it.
I know. Well, I just
we're here to talk fun. We're not here to talk console war shenanigans. People can have their opinion, by all means, go crazy. But here we're going to be talking about Spider-Man. So
just seeing the picture alone gets me really pumped. Yeah, I like the introduction of the puddle that they had. I hope that's an homage to Puddlegate. I really do. The reflection from his hand from the puddle made me understand what ray tracing is all about. So I dug it, man. It looks great. And Daniel Ahmed did a really great side-by-side of here's a shot from the PS4, here's a shot from the PS5, and it is night and day. And it looks so freaking great. So for me, as a Hispanic boy, this could be a DLC. This could be literally, they're just like, we're adding a Miles Morales skin. I pay all the money for it. That's how much this character means to me. So I loved what I saw. It holds a lot of promise. I'm really digging more than anything the lighting from the cars that is like reflecting. I loved it all. I'm so pumped for this game. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you know what, dude? You're not the only one. You're certainly not the only one. Real quick, I want to go next to Big Cloud on this because obviously he's someone that represents the PlayStation Nation and proper, in my opinion. And again, that's I'm entitled to my opinion because it's my fucking show, so I'm gonna say it. Before I get to you, brother, I just have to thank a couple of people. Smitty Smith drops an outstanding and very generous $20 super chat and says this: boom shakalaka, salute to the panel and chat. Let's have a great show, The Book of X. Well, thank you for bringing us back to church, my brother, and thank you for always supporting Double Barrel Gaming. We also have Johnny Virtuous, who's a channel member, a new channel member. Johnny, thank you so much for that. Super appreciate it. We have Sleepy Goblin in the house. Welcome to the program, my brother. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, henceforth, Boom will be known as Breakfast Lord, giver of games. Thanks so much for that, dude. Yeah, listen, it's our small way of trying to assist the community during a very, very difficult 2020. Again, I wish I could buy a system for everyone, because I would, honestly, but we're going to do what we can, and we can do that thanks to the generosity of this insanely amazing community. We have Y9 Power here, not wine. Hey, well, unless he's drinking wine, that's fine. Hey, welcome to the show, brother. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat, and he says, Xbox hate is real. They're making it personal now. Yeah, I really... Look, I'm going to say this: enjoy what you want to enjoy. I think being a troll just to be a troll is pretty crummy. And if you are a troll in this chat, well, you know what's going to happen.
Outta here.
We got the sheriff working these streets, and he don't take. Yep, that's right. And we also have a cowboy currently on the panel that will show you the sharp end of his boot, and we know who that is.
That's right. I know who he is very well.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Cowboy Jim. But Big Cloud, look,
No problem.
Despite all of the spinoff talk that has run rampant recently, Roseman, who's a part of the development team at Insomniac, isn't actively overlapping his universe of interconnected games, according to the story. It's more like a Spider-Verse. Each game in the Marvel universe, according to him, is their way of telling this story. He says this: currently, our plan is to keep each game set in its own Marvel universe. It's part of his goal to give game makers as much freedom as possible to craft the stories they want to tell. And obviously, we know Insomniac can not only tell a great story, they could make a great Spider-Man game. So my question to you is, with the confirmation of 4K 60, which is great, which that means that we're going to get the best version of this game. And I guess it kind of makes the exclamation point in the conversation of, could this have been a DLC on the PS4? Now, could they have scaled it back to run at, whatever Spider-Man 1440 or 1880p, at 30? I'm sure they could have.
I mean, it's the same world, but
it's the same world.
model,
but with that said, knowing that this game is going to be running at 4K 60, certainly should calm fears of a $500 price point entry in buying a PlayStation 5. What are your thoughts on these confirmations?
All right, so when I first saw the screenshot of it, they talked about, I was like, God, they just proved everything I said before, from the mirror reflections on the light to the puddles, everything, the metallic sheen on the actual suit, and the extra detail that you can see between the reflectors and the eyes.
Yes,
they literally added so much more detail this time around. It actually does look like one of the best iterations I've seen in a long time. Now, what I also liked about this too is because, again, if you're a huge comic book fan, that you would know a few things about Venom. Remember how Venom, how he can get close to Peter without his spider sense going off?
Yes,
they confirmed invisibility from Miles. I'm wondering if the symbiote gets on Miles in this game. At the end.
That would be a different tale. Wow.
And another thing about this too, because I've been on a roll. I was telling this with David. I was like, I honestly think Kraven the Hunter might be in the next Spider-Man movie just from the ending, and they pretty much confirmed that Kraven the Hunter with the script that he is in there. So
yeah, he's going to be in 3 for sure. We just don't know who's going to be playing.
It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so
awesome.
I'm
wondering who's the villain in this. In this part 2, not in this one, not in this iteration, but in the main sequel. Is it going to be Green Goblin, or are they going to push Kraven the Hunter? Because one thing about Kraven the Hunter, he loves that thrill of the hunt, right? And what's better than one Spider-Man for Kraven? Two Spider-Man.
Yeah.
2 trophies. So it's going to be crazy. Now, I know a lot of people had a big problem with the whole stealth mechanics. I kind of did too with the first one. I didn't really like those as much, but with Miles, this introduces a new stealth-like mechanic to the actual game, especially in deeper parts of the game.
Well, they're pulling his powers right out of the comic.
So this
Actual
actually adds more
stealth.
to it. So I can see Miles being more of the reconnaissance type of person, doing the stealth missions for you, and you're doing the other traversal as Peter. And more than likely, they're going to tell that story from the actual comic where Peter dies later on, and Miles takes over as Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure that's the storyline they're going to go for.
It
But
wouldn't surprise me because if you, again, no spoilers here because some people didn't beat Spider-Man, and if you didn't, well, shame on you. But I'm not going to ruin it for you. What happened at the end of Spider-Man? There were two endings, two massive
it
endings.
was two good endings, and the one ending,
one that was shocking. Like I couldn't believe Insomniac pulled it off. To actually do something so strong.
They killed it. It actually fit this type of Spider-Man completely.
And then, of course, the special ending, which is what you get with usually, the end of every Marvel movie, you get that little special, oomph, and they did that well too. So it's, I like where you're going with your story expectations, but the fact that Peter could potentially die because he obviously did in the Miles Morales world. That's a possibility for sure.
Because him and MJ just rekindled their relationship in the last one. So I can see that happening later down the road. Another thing that was really, really cool about this too, and the possibilities for this is very, very endless. They can introduce Spider-Gwen.
It's funny. I was actually going to say that because I would not be surprised if she, in some form or fashion, does make some sort of appearance. I'm interested to know because obviously the Sinister Six was the main crux of the original, which was great. It was awesome, but his rogue gallery of villains is deep, and knowing Insomniac, their style of gaming, I'm sure we're gonna see some of the mainstay. You may get a Mysterio in there. You may get a Sandman in there.
I love Mysterio with the new ray tracing with like the dome, the helmet.
Yes, it would be.
I can look, man. That's gonna look incredible.
I'm wondering though if we're gonna get some deep cuts.
Yeah, I can see
what
that.
I'm saying? I have a feeling that we're going to get some deep cut Spider-Man villains that have not either made an appearance in a game ever or potentially have been talked about in a decade.
Yeah,
I would like that a lot.
Yeah, I would be cool. Morbius the vampire, being introduced.
Well, I mean, it's funny because there's a film coming out. It would have been out this year, except for the world took a shit. But his film is done, and we know that Morbius is connected with the MCU because of the Vulture, because of that interaction through the trailer we saw. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. But from what we're hearing, some again, I don't know who's going to be there, but I'm pretty sure I read that a Marvel character or two outside of Spider-Man is going to make an appearance in this game. Is it going to be Iron Man? I don't know. Is it going to be Captain America? Who the heck knows?
Yeah.
But they are suggesting that we are going to get some more MCU or Marvel characters.
Yeah, they were so good with the last one. Because remember they teased Daredevil.
They sure did. Yeah, yep, they absolutely did. Yep.
The Wakanda embassy's there, the Avengers Tower. I mean, there was so much like two characters that you didn't even expect them to even talk about. They even talked about Dr. Connors when he was in lizard form.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so I can see the lizard making a big splash as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So the possibilities are really, really endless, and that's what I love about it. They're having fun with it. That's one thing. And when you have fun with something, you tend to be even more creative with how you tell the story and how you bring more characters on board. So it looks. I can't wait. I really can't wait for this. But as far as Miles is concerned, yeah, this game is going to be great. The new abilities that he has, especially the BioShock. I think the BioShock thing they pretty much gave you a small snippet of what's going to trigger that, like in the trailer. Remember how like his suit started like melt away and he was getting I think that's probably going to be story related, and then you're going to get into the X one. So
again, it's going to be interesting. I am going to say this. It is lining up that even if Sony doesn't have a massive, like a stack of games, Spider-Man is going to be the main draw. It's certainly going to be a system seller. I don't know if Bugsnax Game of the Year is going to potentially match Spider-Man's velocity.
You're going to bring them out again, man. You're going to bring those people out.
Well, you know what? I mean, listen, you have to listen. All jokes aside, Bugsnax, there's going to be an audience for that. It's not going to be us right?
Yeah.
But there's going to be an audience for Bugsnax. It could potentially be the hit of the year with the PlayStation crowd. Now, if that's again, if it's locked behind the PlayStation 5, I don't know how many kids are going to be getting the system. We don't even know how many systems they're going to have available. I hope that they have somehow figured out that they're going to have more than 6,000 for the worldwide launch. Hopefully it's closer to 10, maybe even closer to 12. But again, we'll see. But real good stuff. Now, Wilmy Hood, I want to bring you into the conversation for a second because I know you just wrote something in the private chat, which had me just die. I had to mute my mic.
You guys are speaking a foreign language to me, dude. Let's talk about Pennywise. Let's talk about Freddy Krueger. I have no
idea. You know the Green Goblin? He's also another character.
And he's also like a horror-based character. Hobgoblin is more. He's from hell, Hobgoblin, so he would be right up your alley. You know what? I know.
Got it.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll say this, Wilmy. I know that maybe you're not too you're too excited to talk about this particular topic, but I want to bring it up in a business form question for you. Obviously, we have two consoles launching. One of which had a major announcement and a disappointment to the community that Halo obviously is not going to launch. And that's fine because the game shouldn't have launched anyway. But bringing it back to the PlayStation 5 conversation, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. It's amazing they have been able to get this story done in 2 years. And it's pretty amazing. For you personally, are you going to get Spider-Man Miles Morales with your PlayStation 5 so you can see the ray tracing and the different new aspects to the hardware?
I'm going to buy a PS5, but I don't know about Miles Morales. I played the original Spider-Man game. I liked it, but I have no clue about any of it. To me, it's just a dude wearing a giant leotard running around the city with webs.
Okay. I mean, listen, that's fair.
I may try it. I don't know. It just depends on what else is out. I mean, there's a lot of games coming down the pipeline by the end of this year. And my backlog is already it's the size of Mount Olympus as of now. And I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll have time to fit it in when on release, but I don't know. I buy almost every game anyway on both systems when they first release, so I probably will.
All right. I mean, again, it's really. I think it's going to be one of the games that people are going to want to try simply because it's going to be taking advantage. I mean, it's first party, so they're going to be using the PlayStation 5 to its absolute best ability, and it should be able to show off the ray tracing. It should be able to show off what 4K 60 looks like running on a PlayStation 5. And for me anyway, I honestly cannot wait to get my hands on it. Clowns, I want to go to you next, brother, because you are obviously a huge comic book nerd, just like myself, and someone that supports multiple consoles. So with the PlayStation 5 releasing this fall, whether that be October, November, December, whenever, Spider-Man Miles Morales is releasing right alongside of it. And what are your expectations for this? Are you excited to play Insomniac's new addition to the Spider-Man universe?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I got comic books dating back before mine and Wilmy's time sitting in my garage, just of Spider-Man, from the early 60s. So I really love Spider-Man, and I can't wait to see Insomniac's take on it. I think, they're going to change the story around a little bit to make it kind of like their thing. Like they put the white emblem on Spider-Man and their version of Spider-Man. So there's so much potential here. And I really would like to see them develop the storyline, add some, new stuff in there that we haven't seen in the comics or any, Spider-Verse cartoons or anything like that. I just want like a fresh take from Insomniac on this, and multiple suit designs, hopefully skins, all that in there as well. I can't wait to explore what the city would look like at this time frame. And I do wonder too, like, will they ever bring in other characters like Venom or Carnage to enter the universe? Like, I'm a big fan of Carnage, so I would like to see him come back as well. And Insomniac has so much story and richness there throughout the Spider-Man history that there's so many villains that they could just bring into this universe, even if they mutate them a little bit just to make it like their villain, which they kind of like to do. It's so much potential, Boom. And yes, this would make me pick up a PlayStation 5 just to play this game because this Spider-Man is that awesome to me.
Well, I mean, again, this is right up. This is Sony marketing arm 101. And I said this on one of the shows. I did so many shows this week. I don't remember which show it was, but their 24-inch Python marketing arm is the biggest in the business, and it's the most aggressive. And we know Jim Ryan wants to adopt PlayStation 4 owners to PlayStation 5 quicker than they've ever done before. And how do you do that? Well, you have an outstanding first-party game released for your console. But more importantly, you have Spider-Man, who, again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again on today's program. Take away Kratos, take away Nathan Drake, take away Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal, take away all of the characters, Ratchet Clank, move them off to the left and have them bow in honor of Spider-Man, because that is the face of Sony, not just in the film aspect of the universe, but in the gaming aspect. I believe, in my opinion, the face of the PlayStation is Spider-Man. And you can see that means something to this company, simply because not only are you getting a Spider-Man at launch, a new tale with Miles Morales, one of the more popular characters in Marvel currently, but that's Spider-Man is an exclusive character to the Avengers, which is going to be a big game. Now, I know a lot of people are still pissed off, and I'm still salty about that, but you know my plan. I'm still getting it for the Xbox because that game has been on my radar, and I'm going to buy it used and get it for free later on in the year. But we won't go into that. I do want to bring Cotton into the conversation. Cotton, you are a big fan. Now, I don't know if Spider-Man moves the needle for you personally, but what are your thoughts on the confirmation from Insomniac Games director that not only is this a full-on game and not a quote-unquote, cheap on, DLC edition, where Miles is going to be represented in a proper manner, but more importantly, that the game is going to run at 4K 60 on the PlayStation 5.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. My dad was big on comics, so growing up, he pushed it all onto me, and I don't regret that at all. I have tons of comics, especially Spider-Man ones. I've always loved the movies, loved the games, and last Spider-Man PS4 is no different, dude. I loved it. Insomniac's take on it.
Did you platinum that as well?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. Absolutely. I did all the DLC. I'm going through recently, before I got distracted with some other games. I was going through and doing it on the spectacular mode to get that final trophy on New Game Plus.
Oh, wow.
Because it's platinumed, but it still says I'm at like 98%.
Mine says 90-something% as well. I did something, a few of them I didn't get from the DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, but Insomniac has always been one of my favorites, and they did it justice. It was an original take on it. Honestly, like, there's so much to draw from with this Spider-Man universe, and like others have mentioned, like they could bring in other heroes, other villains. They could do Morbius. They could bring in Blade along with that. That would be another like off the cuff kind of melee combat character they could bring in. It'd be, I don't know, it's limitless for me. I'm excited to play it. Whenever they had their PS5 event and they started off with it was GTA, and I was just like, oh, here we go. And then they came out with the Miles Morales, and I was like mind blown. It looks really good. I was like, there's no way it's a full game, but I mean, apparently it is, and I can't wait to jump into it. It looks fantastic. Miles, that movie, Into the Spider-Verse, is like, it really brought this character into the light for a lot of people who had no idea about him.
Yes.
And which was great because it's an amazing character. And this is going to do that even more so. So for people like Mr. Badbit or any other boy or girl that needs that sort of recognition, this is going to be amazing for them. And to be able to play, watching is one thing, but being able to play as this character and see this character go through a journey and go through it with them and make decisions, it's a whole nother level. So I love games. It's going to be fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man, but we've kind of went on about
but you know what? Let me ask you this though. In your opinion, now we know you have a PlayStation 4, right? Would this game be good enough to make you go out and buy a PlayStation 5?
maybe if I mean, it looks like that's the reason I want to get a PlayStation 5 right now.
Okay.
Will I go? I'm going to get an Xbox first and foremost. That's just where I'm in that ecosystem. But let's say I can save some money from this next stimulus check. 100%, 100%.
Nice.
I'm going to
Nice.
go
Yeah,
in there
right.
and I'm going to get that. It just
Excellent.
depends.
All right. I mean, obviously, again, it's perfect the perfect example of Sony doing their job when it comes to that 24 Python of marketing arm that we talk about on a regular basis. FC Violent, I want to bring you to the conversation, but let me just catch up on a couple of these very generous super chats. We have Masshole 1977 drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, boom, dropping F-bombs the last few shows. Yeah, you know what? I like to get a little salty every now and again, kind of throw off the algorithm. Maybe I'll get some new subs. Oh, speaking of subs, folks, if you're new to this program, we have 320 people here. We're not even halfway through the program. That's a big deal. I am currently 24 subscribers away from 5,000. That is a big deal. Now, folks, I thought I was going to maybe hit that by the end of 2020, and the channel has exploded on the scene. And that's thanks to, of course, all the support. So if you are new and you want to help me hit that 5,000 mark, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're here and enjoying the banter, don't be shy. Hit that thumbs button. It will not hurt. I absolutely promise. We also have a good friend of the show, a very generous friend of the show. Black Eye Dog drops a $5 super sticker that says, keep it up. Thank you for that, my friend. And we have JD who drops an outstanding $5 super chat says, I love Spider-Man, but I'm going to be too busy playing Cyberpunk. Spider-Man can wait. Love the show. Boom. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I mean, again, not making excuses for 343, but to be honest, Halo getting out of the way kind of lets us play Cyberpunk and really enjoy that because, God damn it, that game looks good. But anyway, FC Violent, listen, I know that you said something, and this is why I love having you on the show. And I love following you on social media, and I think more people should. You're honest. You're honest when you get out there and you talk with the community that you represent because you know you have your own show. And someone asked you about Spider-Man. You said, listen, it's just not my bag, but I'm happy for the PlayStation 5 community because they're going to have a game they're going to want to play. What are your thoughts on the confirmation that Miles is getting his own real story? It's running at 4K 60, and even though it's not your bag, are you excited that the PlayStation community is going to have something to cheer this fall?
Yeah, so my motto is always, I'm never going to hate someone's enjoyment of a video game, no matter what it is, like whether it be Fall Guys or anything like that. And I'm glad PlayStation gamers could finally play, a cartoon game that is enjoyable so they could, enjoy more games like that. Make your palette more diverse, as I say.
Yes.
But when it comes to Spider-Man, firstly, I had questions about it because like the wording about the 4K 60, and if it's confirmed that it is 4K and 60, then that's great. That is what I'm more excited about, not only for PlayStation gamers but gamers in general, because that means to me that maybe the Sony first party will start pushing more towards the 60 frames agenda instead of the 30 frame cinematic agenda, which would be great for me. So that right there, that's great, and it's kudos to Insomniac for even being able to pull that off. So that's good. That's next gen to me. But so for Spider-Man in general, I'm not a big Spidey fan. But I am a Miles Morales fan. I watched the movie and the one that won the Oscar. So obviously, like my guy, Mr. Badbit, I am I'm mixed. I'm half Black and Asian. So shocker for those who didn't know. But having representation in gaming is great.
It's a big deal. It is a big deal.
It's massive. It's massive. I mean, I did a segment on that about representation in gaming, why it's important, and the fact that they're having a guy with a very clean cut. You know what I mean? Like if I get my hair cut, it's very similar to Miles Morales. So shout out to Insomniac for getting that correct. But yeah, so like I want PlayStation gamers to enjoy, and I'm a PlayStation gamer as well. Like I'll get a PS5. I've always gotten all the PlayStation consoles. But for me, I'm not getting it day one. It's not really my type of game. There's not a big Marvel guy, so I'm honest with that. Everyone who questions it, I always say not for me.
Okay, and that's very fair. Are you more of a DC guy?
Yes, I am definitely a DC guy. If you want to label me fanboy, you can fanboy me as a DC
dude, listen,
fanboy
there's
and an
nothing wrong
Android
with having a
fanboy.
preference.
That's pretty much it. But yeah. So I'm never gonna shit on anybody's parade, especially Spider-Man. Like another thing too, even if it's expansion, which I think Boom, you read off that news the article that the guy mentioned expansion. Like right there should be a key thing of what the game is going to be about, is expansion and towards the world. But for some reason, gamers or PlayStation gamers get triggered by it. Don't get triggered. Like, who cares? Like, who cares if it's an expansion? You're getting Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what you should be more
Yeah,
more worried about. You know what I mean? Like,
this
who
game
gives a
was
fuck?
made in 2 or 3 years. Like it's
2 years.
It's gonna be a
2
small.
years.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
be
a
a
2-year
smaller
project.
experience. I'm still playing as Miles, and
More and
exactly.
more, man.
Yeah, and to just to hop off of Violent's point here is that like representation's fucking awesome.
Yes.
Like to see the first game from the PS5 or even in the showcase be a black dude, and like even in that whole entire showcase, it took 47 minutes until we saw a main character who was a white guy as a protagonist. Like that's awesome to me. That's
That just goes to show you that gaming is evolving.
yeah.
That goes to show you that representation is important to not just not to us, not just only to us, but the people making the games. And I think that when you have a broad stroke of every race, creed, color, sexuality, and religion in your gaming, again, if something doesn't appeal to you, then you just don't play said game. I'm not going to judge you. But what I love about it is that gaming is opening up in a way, the same way movies have done in the last 20 years, to the point where you can go and watch a film. Now, again, maybe you don't agree with it, but the fact that it's in said film says a lot. And we're seeing that kind of change come to gaming. And I absolutely, as someone that has been gaming since 1978, I'm an old mother effer. And I have seen, and you got to think about this for a second, folks. I went from blocks and sticks to Spider-Man Miles Morales 4K 60. Folks, I have lived the dream. I have lived the dream.
Extended.
Okay.
But Boom, if you don't mind if I finish the
please,
statement.
by all means, go crazy.
Yeah, so and then I just want to finish this by saying again, do not PlayStation gamers, or if you just prefer that console, whatever, don't be triggered by the people saying DLC. It doesn't matter. Like, you are getting a game that you'll enjoy regardless if it's a shorter game or not. Like, that's not the point. There's no point fighting that. Like, expansion, full story, it's all great. That's one of the games you'll be getting on your PlayStation 5 when you do get it. So just enjoy the game and then fuck the rest. That's all I say, man.
Yeah, and you know what? Great way to close it out. Great way to close out this particular topic. I did get to everybody, and what I want to do is I'm going to catch up on a few of the super chats that have come in. First of all, Sean Carpenter drops an outstanding and very generous $2 super chat and says, "Congrats on the close to 5K subs." Yeah, thanks, dude. I super appreciate it. I never thought I would actually do it. I'm going to be honest with you. And we have a very great friend of the show, a very generous friend of the show, Sin Vendetta, once again, because he's a big Souls fan. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and to add advertisement, says, "Just a quick reminder, Mortal Shell releases in 4 days. Gets hype." That's a Souls type game, not for me per se, but certainly for him. Viper XT is another very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Miles Morales image looks great, but I think Insomniac forgot the shadows of Miles on the ground from the truck lights behind him." Yeah, you know what? Listen, I'll say this. It was a still shot. And I think that even though it moved a little bit, it's going to be breathtaking. It's going to be something that I think everyone who's a fan of the genre, fan of Miles, fans of Marvel, or who just wants to play something on their PlayStation 5 that proves next generation has arrived, I think this is going to be the game to do it. But I'm glad that we actually finished this topic before the first hour of the show, because topic number 2 is so big. It's so massive. It's so thought-provoking that I had to break it down into 2 subtopics. So obviously, Apple has officially gone to war with the world. And in what started out the week was Microsoft coming clean and saying, "Hey, listen, we're launching Project X Cloud into Game Pass, so you can play one." They say 100. It's 200 plus games on the go, and unfortunately, it's only releasing into Android. We tried with Apple, we tried with iOS, we gave it the old college effort, and they still said no. Now, I do have some show notes, so I want to break that down for a second. And here is a direct quote. Now, this is if you want to talk about towing the company line, this is Apple. They're just so they suck, man. They just suck the life out of the whole room every time that they step in. You know, I understand there's a lot of people, like my brother is Neil Mental is a huge Apple fan. He's been trying to convert me for years, and of course, I will not take that goddamn red pill. I'm sorry. So I've always been Android. Okay, and here is here's the towing the line statement regarding the Xbox shenanigans from Apple. And this is from a spokesperson, so-called spokesperson. The App Store was created to be safe and a trusted place for our customers to discover and download apps, and a great business opportunity for all developers. And this is coming again from an undisclosed Apple spokesperson. And they told this to businessinsider.com, which is where I pulled the story from. Before they go on our store, all apps are reviewed against the same set of guidelines that are intended to protect customers and provide a fair and level playing field to our developers. Our customers enjoy great apps and games from millions of developers, and gaming services can absolutely launch on the App Store as long as they follow the same set of guidelines applicable to the developers, including submitting games individually for review and appearing in charts and search. They continue with, in addition to the App Store, developers can choose to reach all iPhone and iPad users over the web through Safari and other browsers on the App Store. Because Microsoft isn't submitting each game on its streaming service to Apple's review process, the app that enables access to those games is being blocked from publishing. Okay, so this has obviously caused a great deal of outrage from the iOS community, and another very strong reason to get the F out of the ecosystem known as Apple. Now, I'm glad to have always been an Android user, and I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to be leaving the service quickly when they can. And Joe, I want to go to you first again, simply because you have a story you'd like to tell the folks.
So, not with we're not talking Epic right now, right? That comes later.
No, Epic is part 2.
Epic's part 2. Okay, so this is Apple being Apple, right? They do this not with just Microsoft. They literally do this with everyone. So, we've seen Spotify come out going, "Yep, this is Apple shenanigans. If they can't legitimately control it themselves, they will suck the money out from their competition, or just not let their competition in whatsoever." Now, there is a benefit to that. There is, if you're that company, because Google allows most apps. I'm not a huge Android head, but like Samsung has their own store. You don't have to use Android. Google right now is trying to pay companies not to be on the Samsung store. So there is benefit of controlling that ecosystem, whether it is consumer friendly or not, if you're that company. Now, with that said, Google doesn't rely on the store to print cash. They rely on your information. So any picture you have on your phone, if you're an Android user, you don't own that photo. Google owns that photo. They have complete rights to know wherever you are if you're using Google Maps. That's their information. So understand it's kind of it's a weird situation of like, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it sucks as an iPhone user. I'm sick of the control. I'm sick of knowing that there are so many better apps out there, and I can't use it simply because Apple won't let me. So right off the gate, it sucks. This is though Apple's norm. It's not because of Microsoft. They don't They don't care who the company is.
They tried. They honestly tried to get it done. And when you think about what Xbox Game Pass is as a whole, it advertises 100+ games, right? Each one of said game go through a rigorous check at Microsoft. Already, they already have their own system of checking these games for quality control, right? So they get checked and they get put into this into their system, which has this service has well over 200+ games.
And the disagreement is it's not through the reviewing. I mean, that could be a legitimate like claim that Apple's like, we're not reviewing these games. What could be okay for you could not be okay for us, vice versa.
Right.
And so that is if you're a PR guy, that's a great excuse to use. At the same exact time, though, the real reason why they're blocking it is because if you take a look at like Sea of Thieves, great example, right? There's in-game purchases there. If you're purchasing it within the xCloud app, Apple is not getting that 30% cut.
That's correct. Yes.
That's why they don't want xCloud on their service. Now, if Microsoft wanted to, yeah, they probably could have this, like, you know, Apple gets 30% of sales, but they don't want to do that, because if you're an indie developer, if you're just a developer in general, that means you're splitting hairs when it comes to actual profit on Game Pass on mobile. So yeah, it sucks. It's a sucky situation, and who is in the wrong is Apple by a country mile, you know.
Well, again, it's unfortunate that this is happening. It's sad, because if you are an Ultimate Game Pass subscriber and you were looking forward to the potential to game on the go, and you have iOS as your main draw, you are pretty much shit out of luck, and that's unfortunate. And I don't know if this is going to change. To my understanding, they're not budging on this. And considering the part 2 of this story that's going on, when I say this is Apple versus the world, it is the truth. They seem to be going to war with everyone, and their ways of thinking are old. Their ways of control are just too much, and I think that they're going to lose. And again, I don't know the percentage. There's going to be a lot of people. I was talking to my brother this morning about this. He says, you know, they don't care. They honestly don't care if they lose 1% of their business. No. But if it starts to get into the double digits, where they lose 10% of their users, well, then things I think are going to have to change. I don't know if Fortnite and Project xCloud are that important to gamers where they would leave the service. But it certainly gives people like Joe here, who said that once his contract is up, he is going Android, and you're not going to be the only one. Clowns, I want to go to you next on this, because you obviously have covered big business shenanigans like this in the past on For Guys with Quarters. What are your thoughts on the Xbox versus Apple? Do you think that this is a detriment if you are an iOS user?
Yes, I think it's really bad look for Apple right now, because it looks like they're trying to monopolize and control the free digital market in one aspect. Now, keep in mind, there's two sides to every story. And unfortunately, I kind of like feel like that with everything going on, Apple's kind of going to win maybe. The reason for that is because they can control what's on their device. It's kind of like their market, right? They offered their own version of a digital store. So it's up to companies if they want to agree to Apple's terms to be on their store. It's like Walmart going to Clorox bleach and saying, hey, we won't shelve your product unless we get unless we pay you 15 cents per bottle of bleach. Otherwise, we'll just go with another distributor. And it's kind of like that in the free market. So I think that Apple's got all the places and, all the right things in their terms of agreement for them to win against all these other companies. But on the other hand, if, let's say, a judge was to look at this and say, hey, Apple's created a monopoly, kind of like they accused Microsoft of doing with the Internet Explorer browser in Europe, and they say, hey, this is monopoly. There's only 2 or 3 digital stores out there. We need to force them to break it up. Then that'll be a whole different story. But it's a 50-50 coin. But I think all the favors in Apple. And, real quick, because I might have to leave them. So I just want to also go into this whole thing with the Fortnite thing.
Yeah. Give us your point on that, and we'll get you on out of here.
All right. I think the whole thing's just terrible for consumers in general. Like for people like, Mr. Badbit who has Apple, maybe he wants to experience these products on iOS without having to go out and buy a new phone. It really looks bad for Apple. And what's going to make Apple change is when they see people switch. When consumers take their money and spend it elsewhere, that's the best way to regulate the free market in a capitalistic society. Wilmy may agree with me on some of this, but that's how I feel. And at the same time, I know that all these companies are challenging Apple intentionally to possibly and hopefully break up Apple's digital monopoly and force them into different terms on their own marketplace. But then what Apple could do is say, hey, we're just going to drop the marketplace in general, and bam, it's not going to be on there. So it's, there's two sides to everything, Boom, and that's my 2 cents on this. I'm going to pay attention to Hogue Law for sure and see what he has to say. But
that's definitely somebody to pay attention to, because he is on his game. He actually did a video about the other day, which I actually added to one of my shows regarding the fact that WB Games is in fact still up for sale. And he broke it down in a way that was so understandable, because there's a lot of stuff that, as just a common, person, you don't understand the legal stuff. And he breaks it down. So, yeah, he's going to be doing something about this later on. And I'm sure it's going to be very thought provoking.
And one other point, and I'm sorry for to rush through this, but I want to get it out there so people in the chat can comment or debate with you guys even after I'm gone. But I think that what Microsoft's play is on the xCloud is very smart, making that deal with Samsung. And the reason for that is because Samsung is so big that they have their own Galaxy Store on their products. Now, Google obviously doesn't like that, and Google prefers that people use the Google Play Store, but they're not intentionally trying to stop Samsung because Samsung's so big. If Samsung stopped making Android phones, that's like a good part of the market for Google right there.
Yeah,
and Samsung's Galaxy stores on other products as well. It's like on their TVs, on other devices that they're manufacturing now, their tablets and all that. So when Microsoft and Samsung came into this partnership thing and included xCloud in the Samsung Galaxy Store, I think it's a better deal from Microsoft than it is for Samsung. And the reason for that is because maybe they have an agreement where that the devs in xCloud Game Pass are going to get more of the proceeds instead of a majority of it going to, let's say, like Samsung or to Google Play. So I think it's a really smart move, and it's going to kind of change the market a little bit in favor of a more free market. And it might lead other developers to say, hey, look, what Microsoft made an example for us. We don't have to be stuck to the Google Play Store. We don't have to be stuck to the iOS store. We can make deals with manufacturers. Maybe LG will do a store, and it will open up the market more. And that's what we really need as consumers. We need a free, big open market for prices to adjust for us and for these publishers, because otherwise you have 2 or 3 places. It's going to be like Amazon online and Walmart online, and there's so much profit for these corporations and they're just growing enormously. But we need to break this up, and the best way to do that is support companies to find other ways around this in the meantime, until there's any type of legal jurisdiction or legal ruling in this, which and they have big lobbyists too, so it might be a long time before there's any real real free trade, as I call it in this instance.
Well, listen, dude, once again, dude, I'm glad you were able to get your points out. Awesome. Listen, Clowns, thank you so much for hanging out. And towards the end of the show, we will give 4 Guys with Quarter a proper, outro. So enjoy the rest of your day, brother. And thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Boom.
All right, brother. Have a good day. Real quick now, Wilmy, he mentioned you, and the reason why I want to bring you into the conversation as we close in on 400 people watching live. I want to just catch up on a few of the super chats. We have Tempest Sun says this. Shout out to Cotton coming back to Florida to swim with the Gators. That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yes,
indeed it is. And we have T Boa T drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Do you think Spider-Man Miles Morales will be on the PS4?" No, I do not. I think I originally thought that they would hold that to kind of force people to to convert to the PlayStation 5, but I think that all of the advancements with the ray tracing and the puddles and all the different things all the bells and whistles they're going to be adding to it, they could logistically drop it in resolution to get it to run. But I think that would leave a really bad taste. It'd be a PR nightmare for Sony to be like, hey, you made me buy a PS5. I sold my PS4, and even though I'm enjoying Miles Morales, I could have got this on the PS4. So I think it's going to stay exclusive, in my opinion, to the PlayStation 5. We also have Sikio Yumi dropping a very generous $2 super chat. Says Game Pass, 15 million subs. I see 3 to 5 new studios yearly. That's a possibility. As a matter of fact, folks, I got some information sent to my DM last night that is unbelievable. And I don't want to advertise the show for Monday, but I can tell you this. It is so big. It is so incredibly awesome that I already have Monday's show written mostly. And the opening topic, the opening salvo is going to be unbelievable. So tune in Monday evening at 8 p.m. for that. It's going to be a big show. We also have a good friend of the show, very generous friend of the show. And where did it go? For the love of Joe. Here he is. Kay Asante drops a very generous $5 super chat and says this. MS already pays the 30% to Apple, but Apple wants to test each game individually, plus also take 30% for in-app. That's the issue. Apple is pushing it. I agree. Apple is greedy, and that's not typical. We also have Fanatical Gamer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, just showing my support. Keep it up. Well, thank you so much, dude. So, Wilmy, listen, I want to go to you next because you have already upgraded, and you actually had a story regarding that. Now, you haven't used an Android product in quite some time, but you got the new hotness from Samsung. Why don't you tell us, was this Apple shenanigans the reason why you changed over?
I did just change. I've had an iPhone for 12 years. I just bought, I contacted Verizon Saturday. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of Apple. But it's honestly not just because of xCloud. I've been having a lot of issues, and for somebody that's been on Apple for as long as I have, I don't like their other products. I kept the phone because basically I'm a married guy. My wife loves Apple. It's the typical, she's got, her Starbucks, her iPhone, so she's happy. But I've never really liked iPhone. My wife has the little laptop. I hate that thing. I even bought... I'm not sure why. I got talked into buying an Apple desktop. I hated trying to use it. I wound up giving it to my son-in-law.
Okay.
I've never really liked Apple. And honestly, between the phones that I would keep getting every time a new one came out, there really wasn't much difference besides the camera. And I mean, I don't hang out, at Starbucks. I don't hang out, taking pictures of my food every day. So I really didn't think I could stop a camera. But I did switch to, I got the Galaxy S Ultra 20. And the difference in this phone and my iPhone are night and day, that's for sure. But there are just a lot of things I can do on this Android that I could not do on my Apple. And plus with my business, my entire business is, I have a software program that I pay a lot of money to use each month. And all my employees are on this program. It's all on their mobile phones. It's on their tablets. Apple even made it really super hard for me to use this program that I paid like $1,400 each month to use.
Yikes.
Because whenever it would update, my guys that had iPhones or like me, a lot of times this thing wouldn't work on Apple. And I would call customer support and they would be like, well, I'm sorry, sir. Everything you have is running through iCloud and on Apple, and it's already updated on Android. So the software that I do pay all this money to use was a huge, push in me changing over. And it's funny because Tuesday, when I got my Samsung, with COVID and everything, you set it up yourself and all that good stuff. Switch my SIM cards out and everything. It's not that much different, setting it up as I thought it would be. But I noticed right away, I put in, all the info for this software and it just worked like that. I mean, it was completely flawless. You know, we could take photos with it. We can send messages through it again. And for the last 3 months, I've been fighting with Apple and this software company because it just would not work on Apple anymore.
Wow.
And the guy at the company, you know, the representative that I pay all this money to each month, he told me, he says, I'm sorry, man. He goes, a lot of this is just Apple restrictions. They're not allowing us to put some things, you know, into the updates for the Apple products. So between that, xCloud, and everything else, it was time. And of course, my wife, she's going to be buried with a damn iPhone probably. But me, I'm never going back to an iPhone. And everything was just so inclusive anyway.
Yeah.
I really like them, but you really can't, from a business standpoint, you can't blame Apple. I mean, it's their store.
Right. No, that's the truth. But at the same time, they seem very inflexible when it comes to, because people call to complain, and honestly, it seems like they don't really give a shit.
They don't. And you know, and another fact too, everybody knows I'm a huge PC gamer. The new Samsung connects directly to this awesome Origin PC I have.
Nice.
I can just hit one button and it just automatically connects. I can pull my phone screen up on my monitor. I can drag and drop, which, speaking of dragging and dropping, most people that have an iPhone in the chat, you have some type of music stored in your iPhone. I had 700, 800 songs. You know, I'm an old school guy. I don't listen to Spotify and all those all the time. You know, sometimes I'm in my vehicle and I just got my radio connected to Bluetooth. So I go back and listen to songs that way. So I downloaded, you know, iTunes onto my PC, and the only way that Apple would allow me to retrieve my songs and put them in my Samsung was if I agreed to pay them $15 a month.
Yep.
And then I could have iMusic, you know, the music I had already paid for on this new Samsung. But Samsung found a way around that by being able to connect it to my PC. I could go to iTunes and drag and drop all my music.
Very nice.
So, I mean, when you got 800 songs, that adds up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, a lot of bits.
And it completely synced with Google Play. So now I've got all my music, which I'm sure, you know, Apple hasn't figured out a way to stop that yet.
They will.
They will. They'll figure it out. Those
they'll find a way. I'm pretty sure, because, you know, that's kind of what they do. But I'm just happier with it. This phone is a beast. And yeah, it's not the cheapest phone.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks dope as hell.
I have to get that phone. Like, I literally have to get that phone to run with my, of course, Razer Kishi, which is sitting right beside me, and I've used. It is dope to use for xCloud. And if anyone's interested and wants a review on it, it gets a solid 9 out of 10 from me. I mean, if you want xCloud, that's the way to go. To play, especially using your phone. But yeah, Wilmy, I'm glad that you broke that down, dude. That's you really added to the conversation of why you moved. But and it's funny how that this didn't even this shenanigans going on with Apple didn't even incorporate. It just adds fuel to the fire.
Well, and see, if you're like me and you pay all that money for this software program that I use, when you know when one of the reps at the software company goes, "Look, I'm sorry you're paying us all this money each month, but we can't fix the problem. Apple has to fix it." And then, you know, I kept biting my teeth. I'm like, okay, maybe they'll get around to it at some point. But I mean, when you got a business to run, you just can't sit and wait. And then when, you know, the whole thing with xCloud, that was just, that was the final factor. I was just like, yeah, I'm just done. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that actually works out. My brother's in the chat. He says in all caps, "Android sucks." That's such my brother for you.
Anyway. You know, I felt the same way for a long time, dude. The last Samsung phone I had was the S2, I think, and if I remember correctly, I was on the beach and I threw that thing in the damn ocean.
I love it.
It screwed up. It would lock up on me. I couldn't even get to answer the phone when people called. and I'm pretty sure that's where it wound up. It's in the Atlantic Ocean. It's probably somewhere in China by now.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, it is what it is, and I'm glad that you were able to share that with us. Real quick, let me bring in BitCloud. BitCloud, obviously, the next generation or the future of Xbox outside of the Series X and Series S has been Project X Cloud. It is going to be a big deal for them. It seems like both X Cloud and Xbox Game Pass were made for each other, like peanut butter and chocolate or peanut butter and jelly, whatever is your flavor. And to see that Apple is using the excuse of not being able to certify each game or having Microsoft, put in the request to have each game recertified seems to be preposterous. What are your thoughts on this? Do you feel that there's going to be some sort of an exodus from iOS based on not only this, but the second part of the conversation with Fortnite?
Honestly, the moment Fortnite goes, that's when you'll see the exodus, because that is like the biggest free-to-play multiplayer game out there. So
Right.
the moment they lose that, that's when you're really going to see the insane change. But to be fair with this whole thing, right, if we really go back to just the Apple as a whole, the reason why they acting like this is because of pure arrogance. Like, a lot of people bought into the whole iPhone hype. Like, I remember back when I was in school, high school, dudes would like literally get the next iPhone, whether it came out a year or two later, they would just get it day one. Like, oh, I gotta have this one. That's like, no, you don't. But people bought into the hype of just buying their products. A lot of people buy those AirPods. Everybody just support Apple. But honestly, Apple they're on cloud 9 right now because, they're literally one of the top retailers. So it's like they don't really have anything to worry about. That's how they act.
I mean, listen, you're right. It is pure arrogance. It's pure arrogance. And I think that with life, we always see pure arrogance get kicked in the teeth. You can be on top, but you can also easily be knocked off and fall back down to the bottom. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen with Apple. They are who they are for the product that they created, and a lot of people love their products.
See, Wilmie's part of the problem. He says, I'm doing this podcast for AirPods. See, you're part of the problem. No.
I love it.
Apple, again, you might not like their business practice, but one thing about Apple, they at least got one of you or somebody in this chat owning at least one of their products, Yep. That's the thing. They
well, not in this household. There's not one Apple product in this household.
Hey, amen to that.
Yes,
but a lot of people though, again, are bought into their products, whether it be the AirPods or their iPhones, their iPods.
Take it back to the iPod.
Yeah, people buy into that stuff all the time. So it's just pure arrogance. Again, they just like, we're Cloud 9. This is our service. You either apply with our terms or no deal. That's really all it is. But
I mean, it's listen, again, this is going to be interesting to see where this plays out. But what I want to do is I want to bring FC Violent into the conversation so we could attack this Fortnite shenanigans, because it really exploded yesterday, and it was a tit for tat for sure. But FC Violent, you just said you don't support Apple, and that's fine.
Hell no.
But what are your thoughts on this blocking the Microsoft xCloud / Game Pass situation? I mean, and it's funny because we did see the Master Chief Collection as a preview on iOS, and it took a long time to get that done. And Microsoft, based on what they put out there, and they were very free about the information. They said they tried with Apple. They really tried to get it done, and Apple didn't want to budge. Do you think that people who are current supporters of xCloud, or in fact were looking forward to the ability to play their Xbox games on the go, could potentially actually leave the iOS platform in favor of the support that they're getting from Android?
Listen, people don't know what breathing is until you leave Apple. I'm just for those who want to breathe again, leave Apple right away. They're a trash company. I'm sorry. But just like Clown said, there's always two sides to everything. Obviously, business wise, it's their store. They can pretty much do what they want, unless other than, I guess, if they're doing like the whole monopoly type of thing and they're trying to monopolize a certain section of the market, then yeah, that's a big no-no. But in this sense, I think Apple's going to win, unfortunately. But on the morality part of it, it's Apple. Like they are literally the evil company when it comes to this type of stuff.
The evil empire.
I mean, they really are. And just the piggyback of what Big Cloud said, they made their marketing money off of the marketing tool. In the United States, they're still the most and the most used product when it comes to phones. But in the world, they're lacking tremendously. Like Android is, you know what I mean? So, but what this does is makes it more so that honestly, they're kind of, they're kind of killing themselves in this way, because the only way they get in their power and stuff is through consumers. If consumers like Wilmy Hood is starting to leave, I'm sure others will too. And the main reason is because I don't know why you would try to go toe to toe with Fortnite being the second biggest game in the world. Like that, you're gonna lose a lot of users. You know what I mean? Like if they had an iPhone and they're like, no, I used to play Fortnite, and they're like, I can't now. And then once they look into deeper, they're like, well, why is Apple doing this? And then you realize why. Then it makes no sense for them to stay if you really want to keep playing mobile. You know what I mean? Like because of Apple. But then again, like, we could go into the Google thing, but that's later. But
yeah,
I can't stand Apple products, man. It's pointless because they're so outdated, but yet it's the hipster thing to do. But their marketing is, like you said, fall from grace can happen to anyone. And I feel like I don't think it's gonna happen to them, but they're not gonna be the big dogs as they once were if they keep up with this type of antics. You're losing customers like Wilmy is a big indication of that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I think that we're going to see a mass exodus. Now, I don't know if that's 1%, 3%, or 10%, but I think people are going to feel like their choice as a customer has been removed from their ability to make a proper choice. And I think that is where a lot of customers who switched or recently switched are not going to like that. See, whenever you're a consumer and you spend the kind of money that Apple charges for their products, and they remove the choice for you as a customer, a paying customer, to use something like an application that you've already paid for from Microsoft, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth for sure. And I think we're going to see a mass exodus again. We're going to see how this plays out and whether or not they pivot or move off of the mark. It's going to be very interesting. But what I want to do is I want to bring in the second half of the topic, because this one is big. Before I do, let me just thank a few people. We have Viper XT drops another outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Damn, Wilmy, giving your son-in-law an Apple desktop. You don't like him very much, do you?" I'm sure he was happy if he enjoys Apple products. We also have Sin Vendetta once again shows his generosity. He drops another $5 super chat and says, "It looks like it's time for Microsoft to finally put out the X-Boy." Look, I'll say this. I am a proponent of using third-party stuff. I just wish Microsoft would officially team up with Razer or even Alienware and have them make a device, because they do have something called the UFO. I know if you've seen it. It looks like the Switch, except it's for PC games. And I just wish there was a dedicated piece of hardware that was like, because I don't mind playing on my phone, but like I said, I have the S10. I used to have a Note, and the screen was much bigger. And obviously, I want to upgrade to the S20, but I just wish there was a Switch-like dedicated device to xCloud where the screen was, 6 or 8 inches in height and maybe, 10 inches in width. So you would be able to get a real nice picture where it didn't feel like you were playing on the go. Like you would still have, wow, I'm playing a video game, but I'm playing Xbox in my hand. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but who knows? If Game Pass explodes like I think it's going to, and xCloud explodes even more, we could see some sort of a dedicated device. Again, only time is going to tell. Scrub Nurse is here. Thank you for hanging out with us. As always, he's a huge supporter and a very generous supporter of the channel. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says Apple runs on customers' sunk cost fallacy. The more you are invested in something, the harder it becomes to abandon it, break the cycle. Indeed. So listen, folks, let's talk Fortnite for a second. I have to be completely honest. That's why you tune into this channel. That's why you support Double Barrel Gaming. I don't care about Fortnite. I don't care about it. I've played it maybe 3 or 4 times in its history. It's just not my kind of a game. I don't like games. I'm not a big fan of that genre. The one versus the world 100 thing. It's just not for me. I played a little Apex Legends, a little Call of Duty, a little PUBG. It's just not my bag. But I am very happy and excited that Epic has a community that enjoys this game. It is obviously very popular with the kids. It's a game that they could play for free, which is not really free when you're charging $20 per outfit, but that's fine. That's their business model, and it works, and it's made Epic a lot of money. Well, yesterday, in what I'm calling, this is just me, the biggest blunder in gaming history, Apple, who is already blocking xCloud, we talked about that momentarily a few minutes ago, has officially pulled Fortnite off of the platform, removing it from the App Store. Now, I mean, again, I said this before and I'll say it again. I think that Apple currently is painting themselves into a corner. I don't know what's going to happen. Only time is going to tell. But here is the official statement from Apple regarding what happened with Epic Games. And it says this. It says this. Today, Epic Games took the unfortunate step of violating the App Store guidelines that are applied equally for every developer and designed to keep the store safe for our users. This sounds like the same BS that they talked about with Microsoft, but let me continue. As a result, the Fortnite app has been removed from the store. Epic enabled a feature in its app which was not reviewed or approved by Apple, and they did this so with the express intent of violating the App Store guidelines regarding in-app payments that apply to every developer who sells digital goods or services. Epic has had apps on the store for a decade and have benefited from the App Store ecosystem, including its tools, testing, and distribution that Apple provides to all developers. Sounds like BS. Well, Epic Games has responded, and the reason why this shenanigans took place is because Epic Games created something called the Mega Drop. And it's not a limited time sale, but rather a new way for consumers to save money when using certain payment options. And this is, we're talking about the V-Bucks that they sell. And it says this: get up to 20% savings on V-Bucks and real money offers for every purchase on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Mac, and on mobile when using select payment methods. And because Apple has blocked, and this is their direct response, because Apple has blocked your ability to update when Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 4 releases, you will not be able to play the new season on iOS. And obviously, this is directly coming from their blog post where it's titled #Free Fortnite. Now, they did something very cheeky. They actually put out a little mini movie of the whole Apple situation, which I thought was ingenious. So, of course, Mr. Bedbit, I want to go to you first. This is shocking. This is shocking because of what we've all been talking about, how big Android and Apple are. But more so than those two platforms, there is nothing bigger than Fortnite right currently now. And to see Apple remove this, and again, I know that Android did the same thing, but I believe that from what we're hearing, the Android thing is going to be worked out. That they're going to work that out because obviously Fortnite brings a tremendous amount of money to Android. I don't think that this is going to get worked out with Apple. What are your 2 cents?
I don't think it's going to get worked out with Google as well.
Okay. Right.
I think this is a massive mistake by Fortnite. I think if you're part of any ecosystem right now, if I'm the head of Xbox, if I'm the head of PlayStation, if I'm the head of Nintendo, I want to see Fortnite fall on this one. Everybody charges that 30%. Everybody I just mentioned. Google does it, Apple does it, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they all do it. They all control those ecosystems. So in the beginning, I was like, oh, because I'm not aware of the Android ecosystem as much. So in the beginning, when it was just Fortnite v Apple, I was like, oh, this is great. Get it. Fuck Apple. This is great. And they had this whole thing presented to them. I thought it was very weird. A few hours afterwards, Google Play or Google kicked Fortnite off the Google Play Store for the same exact reasons. And their PR statement is almost mirrored to that of Apple's, of like, hey, listen, we're an open ecosystem, but we can no longer make it available because it violates our policies. However, we welcome the opportunity to continue our discussions with Epic to bring Fortnite back. That's where it changes. So they're going to probably be in deliberations of like, hey, listen, you could come back, we'll give you a better cut, and then whatever. The thing that's interesting here, though, if you're Epic, is how they don't want any money out of this. They're not suing Apple for a lump sum. They're suing Apple for the change in policy, because in actuality, as much as we love the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, Nintendo Store, or eShop, whatever, they're all not consumer friendly. They all go against basic capitalistic principles. Their arguments are, whether you're Apple, whatever, is we made this ecosystem, therefore we have the right to control said ecosystem. Epic's argument is just because you made this product doesn't mean you own the ecosystem. I.e., we could go to PCs, right? You turn on, or even the Mac. You could turn on your MacBook, right? Like I have right here in front of me. I love my MacBooks, best editing machine I got. I have the App Store on my Mac, but I can also download Steam. I could also download Origin. Same with my PC. Those ecosystems, though made by Apple and Windows, owns Windows, or Microsoft owns Windows, they allow different marketplaces to exist within that ecosystem. So and that gives, again, people choices, right? I.e. capitalism. So yeah, Fortnite leaving is going to drive a lot of people, angry people, yelling at Apple. I'm very interested to see, though, because I thought this would have been a great opportunity if Google just shut up, that, hey, if Apple's not going to do it, we're going to move over to Google. Now that Google said, no, you can't do that shit either, that puts Fortnite in a much more vicarious situation, because now the customers are looking at Fortnite going, okay, so then why did you do this if you knew this was going to backfire on both sides? And again, if I'm Microsoft, I'm nervous if this works, because who knows if this works and Epic wins that lawsuit, then Fortnite gets to do that on Microsoft's console, right? Then Fortnite gets to do that on Sony. Then Fortnite gets to do that on Nintendo. It
sets the tone.
It sets the tone. It sets the precedence. Mm-hmm. So although it's weird, because we want to cheer on. I want to cheer for Fortnite here. I want to see them win. It does have much more broader implications, that the argument is, if we allow, Apple to take the smaller revenue cut, then it doesn't it incentivizes them to find costs somewhere else, or the publisher. So like, again, let's take a look, because I mentioned Microsoft too much. Take a look at Sony. If this happens to Fortnite and they have to, curb their revenue model to reflect modern day, they're going to have to try to find that money somewhere else.
Who pays for that, though, Joe? Who will eventually have to pay for this?
Consumers.
There you go. Yeah,
exactly. They're going to have to maybe, charge more for a microtransaction, or charge more for the games themselves, so the consumers pay extra. That's the maybe the fear mongering, but I can't say that that's not wrong or not, or right. So it's a really huge situation that I think at the end of the day, I think this is backfiring on Fortnite. Just because just because if it was only Apple, this is fine. But seeing Google step in, going, no, you can't do this either, and now you're closing off all phones, that's a huge revenue cut for Epic. And I mean, they can definitely afford it, but that's a huge revenue cut for them. How long these deliberations, these lawsuits happen, who knows? And seeing Epic double down and now sue Google as well, oof, it's gonna be a big fight.
It's definitely going to be a big fight. Real quick, Hacky Sacked drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says Google Play just removed Fortnite from their store. Yeah, thanks so much for that, dude. First of all, thanks for being here. But more importantly, thank you for your generosity. We have Axel1324, a very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, boom, Google also removed Fortnite from the Play Store for the same reason. Yeah, thanks so much for that, dude. We are currently discussing that. Wilmy, we just talked about arrogance with Apple, which we know that they are. But we need to talk about arrogance potentially, and I don't think it's potentially anymore. I think it's just straight up arrogance from Fortnite. Now, listen, the bottom line is Fortnite is the biggest thing going in gaming.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? No doubt about it. It is the biggest money maker in gaming currently. On the quote unquote, I'm using air quotes so you can't see me, free to play game, right? Okay, fine. It's not really free to play, but it is. Okay, whatever. But this is a bit ballsy, in my opinion. And again, I would love to say F Apple, you're doing the customers wrong. But now I can't really say F Google because, quite frankly, I like what I have. What I have on Android with Google, and it seems as if they're both on the same page, even though they are opposing companies. What are your thoughts on Fortnite being pulled from not just Apple but now Google? Who do you think is going to blink first?
I think it's going to be Epic, and see, I can see this from a different angle than most people. I live in North Carolina. Epic is 62 miles from where I'm sitting.
Oh, wow. That's not too far.
And actually, Boom, I think you know this. My son actually worked on Fortnite.
I do.
He worked at Epic for a while. Epic, he said, was one of the worst places to work.
Whoa.
And the community for Fortnite was just so toxic, the people that handled it. I don't think this is going to work out the way Epic thinks. I have met Tim Sweeney in person, and I'm here to tell you, I did not care for the guy. I met him at a convention up in Raleigh. He was there. He was, out there to meet fans and everything.
Not very personable from what I hear.
Dude, I sit and talk to Cliffy B and his wife for probably an hour. This joker, you would do good to talk to him for like 30 seconds. I mean, wow. The arrogance was just unbelievably real. But yeah, Epic, I think they're going to lose in this one because when you got pulled from Apple, that's good, but I think a lot of it was more of a publicity stunt. And then when they got pulled from Google Store, that is another huge downfall. And everything takes, Bad said it a minute ago, if you're a YouTuber, guess what? YouTube takes 30% of everything you do.
They sure do.
Every super chat that comes in on this chat, every member to your channel, they take 30% right off the top. Everything does it. You can call it anti-consumer, but honestly, that's doing business with these people on their products.
Yeah.
But Epic is not going to win this one. I really don't think they are. And I saw something earlier before we went live, and I meant to send it to you, and I lost track of it. Supposedly, the Surface was showing something about Fortnite.
Really?
On their, some screenshots or something had leaked. I don't know the market share that the Surface tablets have. And I do know the Surface Duos are coming out, next month?
Yes.
And I had actually said I was waiting for the Surface Duo because that's what I intended to change to from Apple. But my thing is, I have had Microsoft phones. I know they really don't stand behind them very long at a time. When something goes bad or goes south, they're gone.
Yeah.
I I don't think my Microsoft phone actually went. I don't think it went in the ocean. I think it went in the trash.
A lot of people did like the Microsoft phone, though. It was very, very consumer friendly in regards to usage.
It was terrible, man. I mean, but that's the main reason I went ahead with the Galaxy instead of waiting on the Duo next month.
Yeah, I love my Galaxy products.
I don't really think Epic's going to win. I don't see how they're going to win. And doesn't anybody think it's kind of funny they had this this video up and ready to go yesterday?
Yes, it was instantaneous. Yes.
The funny part is when you sit back and you look at this, especially when you're an older gamer like we are, you sit back and you look at this video and you're like, you're comparing this to 1984, but have you dealt with your ecosystem? I mean, who the hell charges $80 for a fucking skin on a game?
Yeah, that's true.
And people pay it. And it is a very popular game, and it breaks my heart that it's still popular. I wish it just go away.
Yeah.
But,
around, the more it damages the industry.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer, and I know we all like to take jabs at each other, about games looking cartoony. I think a lot of this shit is to be blamed on Fortnite, to be honest. I think that's where some of this is coming from to an extent because they see it sales. They can make it run at crazy FPS, keep the graphics and everything low, and people will buy it up. And especially if they slap the word free to play on it and just add a ton of microtransactions like Fortnite's done.
That is true. Yeah.
But I'm tired of Fortnite. I hope it does go away, honestly. But we know it's not going to because there are 50-year-old grown men, dude, that's got entire channels built around Fortnite, sadly.
Indeed. Yeah.
And, it just amazes me. And I think it was all for publicity because that video and everything they popped out yesterday, that was just
very quick.
Oh, yeah. It was just way too convenient. I mean, come on. A company the size of Epic, their communication would have taken longer than that, man, to get somebody to actually make that video. And that's coming from having somebody that worked there in their family.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like it's one big giant publicity stunt. It draws more people in. Like when they went offline a few months ago, if you guys remember that.
Yeah, the black hole. Yes.
Yeah. And dude, people were sitting there watching it. And I'm sitting back going, who just sits and watches this on the screen for hours of their day? But I don't know, man. I think they're going to lose on this one because Google and Apple, whether you love them or hate them, they run the market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is their marketplace, and Epic is might have, and I say might with an asterisk next to it, overstepped their dominance boundaries, if you will. Yeah, they're big, but maybe they're not as big as Apple and Google,
unless maybe Tencent is throwing money at, because Tencent owns 40% of Epic.
Maybe that's true. They sure do.
So maybe Tencent's throwing money around because they're upset about the TikTok thing. Who knows?
That's interesting. Wow, that'd be another whole 2-hour show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you for the thought-provoking conversation, because that was big. Big Cloud, listen, you and I, we're on the same page about this Fortnite shit. We don't care, right? We could give a flying F, and that's fine. Listen, if you enjoy Fortnite, I applaud that you enjoy that game. Good on you that you get video game enjoyment out of this. My question to you is, do you think that we're going to see Epic start to backpedal now that they have painted themselves into a corner, going to war with everyone that holds their stuff? Again, right now it's Google, right now it's Apple, but man, could Microsoft, could Sony, could everyone else just go up against it, and it's going to be Fortnite versus the world?
I mean, at this rate, at this time, honestly, it could very well happen. Again, they have the biggest multiplayer game right now, right? And this arrogance is really going through their head. They charge you $80 for damn cosmetic items.
Yeah, that's absurd.
And people are buying this crap. And that's
funny.
I
know, it's gross.
That's the crazy part. People are buying that and going, yeah, it's cool. I look cool, whatnot. I mean, Dr. Disrespect got a custom character.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But as far as this game, the sooner this game dies, in my honest opinion, will be the sooner gaming gets better in the multiplayer aspect, because I don't like what they like. I don't like what Call of Duty was trying to do with their what was it, Black Ops 4. I hated that.
Yeah. I didn't buy the game, dude. I didn't buy it because of that.
The beta is like a little beta they allowed for it. I played the beta. I hated it. I was like, this is not Call of Duty. This is just so dumb. You know, it's a big world. Last time I checked, it was all about killing, right? You're in a big world and you rarely see anybody. And I don't know how people play this and find this to be enjoyable. But again, if you like it, you like it. But I honestly think the sooner this damn game dies, the better. And if you sooner, and at the same time too, if they go to war with Sony and Microsoft,
they're finished.
They wouldn't charge for free to play games in general.
Yeah.
Who's to say that? Because Microsoft, again, that's one of the biggest gripes that a lot of Xbox consumers have is the fact that you have to pay for gold just to access free to play games.
Right.
Now, if they go to war with this and get mad over this, 30%, which is business, which Wommy said perfectly, it's business. It happens in every platform you put your product on. If you don't want to pay that up, then odds are you're going to see that never go away, and more than likely, PlayStation Plus will become a requirement for games like Fortnite down the road.
You know what? It's certainly possible if this is going to become a problem. Like I said, I don't know where this is going to go. It's certainly, as a podcaster / content creator that we all are, it's a conversation that, like I said, I mean, I could have written 3 other topics that just talked about games, but this is such a big topic that it needed to be discussed. And again, I agree with you. If Fortnite went away tomorrow, I wouldn't even shed a tear. But to be fair, it would upset a lot of people, especially a lot of kids in my family that play it. They'd be devastated, and I would feel bad for them. So I honestly don't want to see it go away per se for that perspective. For me, as a gamer, who that's just not my cup of tea, I could care less. But I also want to keep in mind that there are a lot of people that do enjoy the game. So I'm hoping that Tim Sweeney and the rest of those knuckleheads over there could figure this out and think, you know what, maybe we just need to walk this back and just pay the 30%. Now, I don't know. I'm not a legal beagle. What the heck do I know? I'm just a knucklehead with a microphone talking about the gaming news. But I think that they are in the wrong here. If I had to, and again, I don't like siding with Apple, and I certainly don't like siding with big conglomerates because I know that they're out for money and they really don't care about the little guy. But this is an aspect. This is an
right where this small rebellion can turn into something crazy for everybody. In the long run.
I'm looking at from the little man looking into a very big pond, saying, you know what? Maybe this big fish is just too big for the pond, and they're going to wind up suffocating. And I think that's what they're going to do themselves. Real quick, FC Violent, I want to bring you into the conversation, my brother, but let me just catch up on some of these outstanding, very generous super chats. First of all, we have Eagles fan 76 who's always donating to the program, and I want to thank you for that. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, a good perspective on this is to go check out Hogue Law. So yeah, I definitely going to check that out I actually have to do some housework, so I'm going to be listening to him while I'm doing some housework after the show. We have the Savage Lobo, a good friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, this is Steam all over again on the mobile market. Oh, that's a great point. We have Viper XT, who consistently drops outstanding super chats. He drops another $2 super chat and says, I should just e-transfer my super chats from now on. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's okay, dude. They got to get their money. They get 30% off the top, and I don't have like a tip thing. I know that there's certainly other aspects to go where you can have I think it's called a tip jar, where I think they only take 5% as opposed to 30, which would be great, but I don't have that added to the channel. Maybe it's something I will consider. Let me see. Wait, we had someone before that. Okay, yes, we do. Actually, Mohammed Diallo drops a very generous $5 super chat. Mohammed, thank you so much for being here, but thank you for your generosity. He says, Mr. Badbit hit the nail on the head. If Epic wins, I don't see XBL Gold for free to play going away. Good show, guys. Well, thank you so much for the compliment. Thank you for the super chat. And we have a massive super chat that just came in from DJ Birdo DOS, drops a very generous an outrageous $20 super chat and says, "Boom, you always bring the heat from topics to panel, just like the summer sun here in South Florida. From one Leo to a former Leo, keep up the great work and community. Appreciate all that you do. Salute to Mrs. Boomstick." Oh, dude, thank you so much for that. I will certainly let Mrs. Boomstick know with the salute. And thank you for your outstanding generosity. We also have a very good friend of the show, Caboose V42, drops a very generous $2 super chat. It says, "Today is the day of crisis." Indeed, it certainly is. So, FC Violent, here's the thing. Again, I don't know if Fortnite is your thing. Again, I'm not going to assume that it is or it's not. But in your opinion, has Epic Games stepped out of bounds on this move?
Definitely. I'm all for any Apple slander, but when you go against Google, you have a problem with me when it comes to the Android platform. But yeah, I mean they were getting I feel like the public backing when it came against Apple, but now that it seems like they're trying to attack all stores, and you're looking behind it is to circumvent the 30% charge. It's like, bro, but you have a store, even though you don't charge 30%, you're still charging. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's part of the business practice.
Right.
And if you want to circumvent that completely, you make your own mobile platform. You know what I mean? Like have Tencent or something make phones. If you wanted to go that way, then that's the only way I can see it happen. But legality aspect of it, they're not going to win. There's no way they can win. It's not their store. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when you put stuff on the storefront, you have to agree to all terms and conditions. Same when it comes to like playing online or Xbox Live, PlayStation Network. Do anything outside of that, you could get banned or removed. Same thing in this case. They try to circumvent that 30% charge. It's up to even iPhone and Android's right to remove anybody that's not within the realms of their agreement. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's a lose-lose battle for Epic, and I'm not sure what they're trying to gain by this. Like, I'm just trying to see like on their front. Well, right, but I mean like the negative aspect of this, like if they remove those things, remove the Fortnite from their games, that is a portion of their money they're coming from. Now, the shareholders, are they going to be pissed? Like, you know what I mean? Tencent's looking at this like, okay, well, what do you do in Epic? Or maybe are they pushing Epic to do this to be like, know what, we're launching our own platform because they don't want us to be on their platform. You know what I mean? And then try to like focus or like push the Fortnite users to like, know what? Yeah, let's sub to the new Tencent phones or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see coming from this. And in that sense, it would kind of make sense. But otherwise, why would you lose? Like, you know what I mean? It's 30%, yes, but 30% is better than nothing. Right at this moment, you're not getting anything from the mobile market.
That's true. And you know something? You bring up dude, good on you for bringing up this point because it's something that I did not even consider. First of all, I forgot that Tencent, the company that no one knows exists, but really exists because they own freaking everything.
The League of Shadows.
Yeah, they live in the shadows like ninjas for sure. But you know what? That suggestion that they could be making a power play to actually bring their own mobile network is frightening. It is frightening, and this is where you're going to see something that we never thought would be something that we would see in our lifetime, where the companies. Boom. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I just want to add another thing to that. You know how like Wilmy even said, like maybe it's their way to pay back with TikTok. Like, yeah. So what's more frightening, having Tencent phones in the U.S. market?
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I mean, listen, dude, you bring up a fantastic point. Again, something I didn't even consider, but this would be an era of errors, if you will, because this would be when you would actually see Google, Microsoft, Apple, Sony banding together to basically make the Justice League to stop the incoming threat known as Thanos or Darkseid for which would be considered to be Tencent, and it would be something. Again, this is going to be a story I do not think is going away, and I gotta be honest with you, dude. Good on you for bringing that into the conversation because I did not even consider Tencent, and you know something? I think that's the way they like it. Anything else you'd like to add to the conversation at FC?
I mean, I think everyone nailed it on the head. It's just like when I try to think of stuff, I try to think of like why are they actually doing this? Because like you said, they already had a press thing ready to go. I feel like in the boardrooms they're already pushing for this.
Yeah.
Tencent owns 40% of the company, so they have a lot of sway. And who else? Like just like how Epic make their own game store on the PC front. Like I'm thinking they're gonna do the same thing in the mobile market.
That would be great.
First thing you do is just rattle everyone. Like, you know what? iPhones are against us, our Fortnite users. You know, battle against Apple. And they're like, yeah, F Apple. There's like, no, what? Google's against us too. And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, what? F those guys. We have our own market. Please subscribe to Tencent. There it is.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And real quick, a good shout out to a good friend of the show. I don't know why I pronounce it as Dark Seed, but it is Dark Side. I don't know why. What the hell's wrong with me today? I guess I got jumbled in my words, but yes, it is Dark Side, not Dark Seed, like in the seed of a plant or whatever. But listen, Cotton, let's close out today's show, which has been epic. No pun intended. What are your thoughts on this? Has Epic Games might have gotten too big for their britches, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I didn't touch on the first part one of this, this whole mobile ordeal. So I'm gonna just touch on that and round it off here to Fortnite.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Take your time.
It's crazy that it's definitely a publicity thing, the way that they did this. Like the fact that they had that video ready to go on Fortnite, right? Live.
Yeah.
Like it was one
Very
of their
suspicious for sure.
main events, and it was 100% aimed directly at Apple specifically. You know what I mean? But then for it to follow in line with Google and the Android market, it's just like it was planned out. I don't know if they saw it coming through Google as well, but they should have. The fact that I don't know, the 10-cent argument there, that's a great way to look at it. I think and the fact that they do have their Epic Game Store already, that's probably what they're going to do. As far as what people moving away, like this great departure from iOS, you know, because of things like this, because of no Fortnite, because of no xCloud on this stuff, you know, I think a lot of people, the main majority of people who do have iPhones, like Wilmy said, it's a lot of people, like there's a lot of people, all different types of people, but a lot of them are people who are not like super like gamers. Most of my gamer friends or super tech savvy friends are the ones who have Android stuff already, because you know the freedom, you know the options you have.
Right.
And the few that are not are people who jailbreak their iPhones. You know what I mean? And then you can do what you want on there anyways. So I don't know if there'll be a huge departure. I don't know if Apple's too worried about not having xCloud on their service. I was one of the people who got to test the Master Chief Collection on iOS because it was the only game that they offered on their test flight app of the Xbox streaming on the iPhone. It was fantastic. I've like Wilmy, I had iPhone products since the 3GS, so for years, 10 years, easy. I still have one. I'm part of their upgrade program that's like very similar to the new Xbox All Access program. And personally, I like it. I've been thinking about switching for a while, but to be honest, it's a similar case for I'm just very in the ecosystem now. The deeper you get, it's harder to get out.
Yeah,
Same
sure.
if you want to switch from
Join the light side.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't dislike the iPhone at least. So if I'm gonna do mobile gaming, which I'm not super big on, I love the option of xCloud. Like I've been testing it on Android and on iOS. I love both. It's just that my carrier, I have the iPhone, so it worked better for me just being able to do it through my data as opposed to like hotspotting or doing Wi-Fi on I have a Pixel 3C or something like that as well. That I got just to test it on the Android, which it was also really smooth, and you have all the full catalog of games, which is better. But I see a lot of people, instead of people who are not hardcore, as to like, oh, this is such a big deal, like I've got to get rid of my iPhone. I think people like us, You know, they already know the pros and the cons, and there's a lot more pros of getting on to Android as far as just the options. I think a lot of everyone else is like, it's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? What's stopping people from getting a tablet and having a tablet to game on? Like, I'm thinking about getting one of the new Surfaces. But
Yeah.
am I going to switch out my iPhone? Maybe. That's just a personal thing. As far as Fortnite goes, that's a big deal because it's gone from both, right? It's gone from Android and iOS right now. Well, you can still play till the new season, but that's when everyone wants to jump back in. People who do play the game, it's kind of similar to Destiny. I have friends who will go in and out of Fortnite, right? Like, oh, this season doesn't look that good. Oh, but I'll come back in on the new season. So if this sticks around, I think you'll see more news on it later on when the new season rolls over and everyone starts to realize, oh, why can't I play Fortnite on my phone anymore? So that's a huge, huge market for Fortnite. Even yesterday when they dropped that video, I'm out here in New York doing like just some work for this church I'm doing out here. And I was out with a bunch of kids at this summer camp. And I saw the tweet that they put out saying, oh, we're going to drop like a little event right on Fortnite. So I pulled it up on my phone. I'm in the bus with all these kids, and literally like 12 kids crowd behind my seat, and they're all watching, leaning over. Everyone's leaning over trying to see what's about to happen on Fortnite. And it's just this little promo just for, going against Apple for them, like free Fortnite. And all these kids were so disappointed. They're like, what? That's it? Let's go. What's what we waited for? But all these kids they have tablets, they have all these different things. If this kid has a smartphone, most of the time they have another way to play these games. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out, honestly. I don't think Epic wins this.
No, I don't agree. I agree. I think they lose big time on this. Yeah.
But time will tell. I think that this story is just getting started for them.
Well, listen, folks, this has been a fantastic, literally hit the nail on the head of 2 hours. And that's actually pretty good because this week, this is my 5th day in a row of 2+ hour streams. It's been great. There's been so much to talk about. What's that?
I just said, how do you sleep at night? I don't know how you do.
You know what, dude? I've been going to bed after 1 because I've been staying up to do a lot of writing. I usually do my best writing after midnight, simply because of the house is. I have my thoughts to myself, and the house is quiet. And I sit here in my corner, and I'm using my phone, and I'm setting up each show. And you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish someone would invest in me. Tencent, if you're listening, let's get this done. Let's get me syndicated so I could do this from a real studio with maybe an assistant or two that could help with all of the production that goes into these shows. But I actually do love it. And I love it because I get a chance each and every week to talk about gaming. It's something I've been doing for a very long time. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And the fact that I have a community that has accepted what I bring to the table is honestly still mind-blowing for me. As humbling could be, I am thrilled to know that people enjoy the content. So let's get everyone out of here so you can start your weekend. And of course, we're going to start with BitCloud, because BitCloud, you have an amazing show this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. Why don't you do me a favor, dude? Tell everyone about that program, but more importantly, tell everyone where they can follow you on social media.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get on out of here. So I know Boom wants to fall asleep. He's been up for this long.
No, I actually have to go do food shopping right after this.
Oh wow. I'm gonna give him a Red Bull, man. He needs some energy, man. Shout out to the panel, good conversation. You guys can find me on Twitter and YouTube, BitCloud Gaming. And 5 p.m. Eastern Time, RGT Podcast. Can't wait.
Yeah, I know Spider-Man is going to be a big topic. I cannot wait to listen. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Very exciting times for people looking forward towards the purchase of the PlayStation 5. Next up, FC Violent. You have an amazing show that goes live Monday evenings at 7 p.m. right before primetime gaming, called the Vitamin G Podcast. And you are someone that I enjoy not only working with, but someone I want to help lift up. So if you are a fan of my work, you need to get over and subscribe to FC Violence YouTube channel. All of his information is in the show notes. Please go and do that. FC, why don't you do me a favor, brother, and tell everyone about the Vitamin G podcast and also where they can follow you on social media.
Yes, first, man. Wow, thanks, Boom. I appreciate the shout out, man. That means a lot to me,
That
man.
is what
Smaller channel.
Listen, it's what small. Listen, I say this. I don't have a big voice in this huge ocean of amazing content creators, but I am going to say this. I am going to do my damnedest to make sure that I can help lift up everyone who takes the time to spend on this program. It is literally the least I can do. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not going to shout at anybody because I don't do that on this program, but I just wish some of these other programs, and you know the players, they have 50, they have 60, they have 100,000 subs. I wish they would do the same for others. They don't. So guess what? Champion of the little guy, Boomstick XL, is going to be there and make sure that I lift up everyone that I can, because I can carry a lot on these big shoulders on my 6-foot frame. So do us a favor, dude. Tell everyone about your program because I think it's fantastic and more people need to sub.
Yes, indeed, man. Again, thank you for that. So we have a Vitamin G Gaming podcast at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's just a group of different gamers. It's not any centric on any type of platform, platform agnostic, basically. It's me, Creative Kofi, a big Japanese fan. I think Big Cloud. I think you're with him a lot. Even Omar, the far right when it comes to PlayStation. I want everyone's opinions, so you'll get that on our show on Mondays, every Mondays, and there's always something going down when we discuss our topics. But if you want to follow me, you can follow me FC Violent, Space Violent on Twitter, where I speak my mind pretty frequently, man. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna say what I say, and it is what it is. And I'm making videos again. I had dropped a video last week, and I'll be making another one either later today or tomorrow about my thoughts and just in gaming in general. So if you like this, you like my thoughts on this show, and you respect Boom's opinion, sub to my channel, sub to everyone here, and always keep it gaming.
Yes, that's absolutely right. That's right. Keep it gaming at the end of the day. Like what you like, but don't poop on other people because they like something that you don't, or they don't like something that you do. Remember, at the end of the day, we're all gamers, and we're supposed to be having #fun, not fighting. And speaking of not fighting, we're going to bring in Mr. Badbit, the voice of the trophy room. Listen, you had an outstanding Halo conversation that was both very inspiring and thought-provoking, because at your core, you are a diehard Halo fan. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone about the trophy room. But more importantly, let's get you past 2,000 so you can ask people to lie in puddles as you walk over them.
Yeah, man. So first off, go follow FC Violent. Go follow Vitamin G podcast. I was there last week, right? Is that how time works? Fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great show, by the way. Great show with Badbit. It's something this man. He's awesome.
Oh, thank you. And Boom, thank you for the kind words, because it's very easy for a PlayStation show when to discuss Xbox news and hit them while they're down. But I think that conversation was really awesome, and not fanboying a bit.
Very well done. Very well done.
Thank you, because that a lot of thought goes behind everything we do there. So it's not ever to poke fun. We don't do that fanboy stuff. But with that, you can follow me over at Bad Big Games, where we talk about all things game news, reviews, and unboxing. Speak of reviews, check out the Mortal Shell review that's going to be coming out. I know Sin Vendetta was excited about that game, so you might have to check out the channel in a few days. The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, video version on Bad Bit Games. Make sure you're subscribed there. Also, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get an RSS feed that's not SoundCloud, we're there. So yeah, thank you for having me. This is a fantastic conversation, and especially when it came to the Fortnite one, because it's so multi. There's a lot of layers to that cake.
A lot of layers to this onion for sure, and we're gonna see where this goes later on. Now we're gonna talk to our resident horror fan, someone that both myself and my wife really enjoy his content simply because he's a horror buff just like us. I actually just signed up to Shudder. It's another streaming service, but it's all horror based, and we are loving it because we're horror freaks. Wilmy Hood, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time, because you are a quite busy man. You know, obviously you have your business, but more importantly, you have your new addition to your beautiful family, and that has been great for you, I know for sure. But we want to know about your outstanding podcast that you have one heck of a panel. That's just a bunch of guys cracking beers, wearing crazy masks, and also just talking about gaming as a whole and having fun with it. And also tell everyone where they could find you on social media. And of course, potentially, if you're a dick, get blocked and add to that list of 875,000 people on the block hand.
Well, you can find me on every gaming system besides Stadia, because I just canceled my Stadia. It was pointless. It was just me, Mooch, and Dreadpool at this point. So you can find me every Wednesday night at YouTube for Gaming Beyond the Box. And as a matter of fact, while we've been on the podcast, we just crossed 10,000 subscribers to the channel.
Dude, that is monster,
Congrats.
bro.
Yo, congrats, man. That's awesome, dude.
And also, we are going to be starting something new tonight on the Wilmy Hood YouTube channel. We got our accreditations in. We will start live streaming a lot of games that aren't coming out yet. So you can watch that, because we got a ton of keys to do a beta test on these games, and we're totally allowed to stream them on the channel. So there'll be a lot of those coming through the channel now. And that's it. You can find me on Twitter, unless you are blocked. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm always sharing something to make somebody laugh or to offend somebody. It's not personal, folks. Everybody needs to lighten up, have a good time, and play what you want, where you want. Don't pay any attention to the Twitter trolls and the people that have no life or never been laid. Do what makes you happy, and that's it. Have a good weekend. I'll throw my microphone on the floor right now.
Yes, and he's out, folks. Listen, last and no way least, someone that always has an excellent strategy. Right now, he's currently battling the thieveries that's known as New York City, because it's, you know, you definitely get mugged here. But he's also going to head back and battle those Gators in Florida. Cotton McCast, thank you so much for being here. You were notified late last night, and you, of course, were able to jump on, and we certainly appreciate what you bring to the table. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media and potentially play with you on Xbox Live.
Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for extending the hand again, inviting me to the show. Always a pleasure to be here. I mean, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody here on the panel. Everyone here has a channel that you can subscribe to, so make sure you guys do that. It takes a lot of work, and they got a lot of passion for this stuff. And being busy, it's not easy to do all that stuff. So you can catch me on Twitter at Cotton McCast, as well as on PSN. I'm on there every now and then. Cotton McCast there, and on Twitch. As of yesterday, I just rebranded, made a new Twitch, and I be on there probably later today. I'm gonna jump onto the Avengers beta. I already played through all of it last weekend, but I'm gonna jump in and level those characters up again. Really like that game, so if you want to check that out, it'd be Cotton McCast on Twitch, and that's about it. Xbox Live is Terry Fold. If you want to play anything, I'm on there all the time. Recently been getting through all the Halos on Master Chief Collection, so hit me up anywhere. Always feel free to DM me too.
Nice,
brother. Thanks for having me, Boom.
Well, thanks so much for being here, as always. Real quick, 2 super chats came in before we get everyone out of here. We have Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Great show and panel, Boom." Well, thank you so much for that. And of course, man, we actually quite a few come in. Viper XT, wow, my goodness, dude, he drops a very generous $20 super chat and says, "Just a thought, this thing between Apple and Epic could be a setup for the next season. These chapters have been about good versus evil they already have a banana agent in the game. Apple and Google could be on it. You
They
know
could
what?
do
That's a
Apple
great
for
point.
sure.
You know what? I love that rabbit hole he went down. So I'm right there with him.
And this is, yeah, I mean, listen, they could make it work for sure. We have Flap, who was a guest on yesterday's Xbox Factor podcast, someone that is new, relatively new, only 3 weeks to the YouTube game. Head over there and check out his channel. He drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says, great show, boom. Well, thank you for being here. And Viper XT, my goodness, you continue to donate to this channel. Thank you so much. He says, after dropping an additional $5 super chat, the video that they had ready makes me think it could be with an Apple agent. And of course, look at this. My brother Neo Mental drops a very generous $5 super chat and still says Apple still sucks. No, I'm sorry. He didn't say that. He said Android still sucks. I say Apple still sucks. But listen, folks, this has been great. I as you can hear, my mood is very excited. I love doing this each and every week. This week was very busy with content. I hope everyone enjoyed the live content. We're going to go back to regular scheduled programming where we're going to get Monday's primetime gaming, Thursday's Xbox Factor podcast, and Friday morning's Breakfast Boom. Of course, unless something tremendous happens, like the PlayStation announces a delay, Microsoft says we're not coming out with the X, we're taking our ball and going home, or whatever. If something big happens, rest assured, Double Barrel Gaming will have you covered with live content. But folks, I want to say this, something that is important to me, hopefully is important to you, and it's something that my dad taught me when we were kids, something I think is more important now than ever, considering the world the way it is. He used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated, and also it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you you're going to have an awesome day. Take care, have a great day, enjoy your weekend, enjoy gaming, and just be nice.